Listo.
Listo, y ahí está grabando. Ahora tienes que darle permiso de administradora, perdón, de anfitrión a Michael para que Michael pueda proyectar su pantalla. Ah, bueno, puedo hacerlo
Ya
yo
está
simplemente a
listo.
mí. Sí. Ok,
Él está listo ya para compartir también.
perfecto. Vamos a revisarlo aquí. Un segundito. Michael. Ya está de anfitrión. Listo, Michael. Ready, Michael, you can share your screen.
Okay. Do you want me to start over because you're recording it? Just fly through, or do you want me to stop or start where I left
Oh,
off?
if you have time, we have time.
I don't want to take too much of your time either.
No,
So
No
I would
problem.
like it if you do it because one of our plans is to record it and put it in a
Upload to video.
YouTube canal so people can access to.
okay. Do you want me to go slow screen by screen and translate so that will help you in sharing it?
Okay, perfect.
That we do our translate, or you want we can set on YouTube
Subtitles.
the closed caption translation.
Okay. Oh, that's perfect.
Subtitles.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let me share my screen. I will get this on. And now let me just back it up here. Okay. Okay. So here we are again, brothers. This is the Masonic identification, past, present, and future. And what this is going to walk through is just the history of Masonic identification throughout the some 400 or 500 years of Freemasonry that we know of. Oh, let's go back one. So this was the first Masonic identification, was a mark. And this is chisel on a stone when you built a cathedral or you built, any type of castle or edifice. This is how Masons were known back then. And this started by a gentleman named William Shaw, who was the King's Master of Works. And these are called the Shaw Statutes, which are from 1598. And in them, he did two things. He made sure that Masons in guilds would be tested on the memorization of their ritual, but secondly, that each Mason would be known by their mark, and that there would be a book of mark in recording the name of each Mason or the symbols of their marks. So this is how long it's been since we've actually had Masonic identification. This goes through a traveling certificate for a past master of a lodge in Ireland, but it just shows you the elaborate artwork that was on some of these first certificates, which was much later than just the Mason's mark on stones. Eventually, they realized that they were speculative Masons and that they wouldn't necessarily have chisels and make their marks in stone, so they needed something to travel around with besides the modes of recognition. This led to other examples of this fine artwork, just like this one from Scotland. And what's unique in this one, it says that the brother is to sign his name on the margin hereof, that the same may be demanded of him as proof that his hath not fallen into unworthy hands, which meant that even back in 1820, they knew that other people would try to infiltrate and show themselves as Masons who weren't worthy. This right here, again, this is the traveling certificate of Santa Anna, of was he a Mason, was he not? This is actual proof, and we have this in our New York library. This is another certificate from the Grand Orient of France, just symbolizing a bit of the artwork and whatnot that made it a little more difficult to replicate. What happened was this led to the Morgan Affair in the United States, where William Morgan was going to write an expose of books of Freemasonry, and he went missing. A lot of speculation what happened to him, but in the end, what happened was the anti-Masonic movement was created, which actually was the next political party in the United States, Republicans, and now there was a new party called the Anti-Masonic Party. And it took many years of leaders of the United States to get away from that. But for many years, our craft was under attack. In about 1843, most of this had ended. And that's when a lot of the Grand Lodges in the United States came together, and they had the Baltimore Convention. And this is where we did a lot of standardization of work to make sure that everyone was doing similar ritual, but also to actually implement dues cards. They went from traveling certificates to just smaller dues cards, which were easier for members to actually carry, and as well for Grand Lodges to replicate and distribute amongst the brethren. This is an actual traveling certificate or smaller dues card certificate from actually 1772 from Ireland, just giving you an example of what they might have looked like. So this brings us to, after we had these dues cards, Grand Lodges would basically take care of all their administrative work through our old card boxes. And many of you can remember going to the library and finding a book using one of these. And that led to more advanced file cabinets that we used in the past probably 30 years, which finally led us to using databases, which is what we use now. And by connecting these, we can actually have information at a much more rapid pace. So basically what we're saying is it's already here. And this leads us to a very, very important thing and knowledge is that we as Masons actually invented the passport. You can realize that back then when Masons were meeting, they were the only ones who had passports. You didn't need a passport to travel from France to Scotland or from Scotland to England. Passports actually came about from our beautiful fraternity. And nowadays, everyone uses one in every country. So it's interesting that the whole world has progressed from these traveling certificates, but we hadn't in about 400 years. And that's what we've been trying to do at Amity. One of the things we've had to tackle are all of the private data laws throughout the world, just not in the Americas, but in Europe, GDPR, New York Shield, CCPA Act. We believe it's very important for Masons to have their private data and to control it. So this brings us to more of our options in what we have today. And you can see here, this is what everybody has been interested in. You have over here on the left, the King Solomon's Pass within the app, which is free for everyone. You have the settings underneath, which in there will allow you to turn on and off your Masonic profile if you want to just use it as a public profile to show someone to share your contact information. The next is the wallet pass, which everyone who has, an iPhone or an Android, they have different wallets. And you can also have this in a wallet pass to be readily accessible. Another option that we do, if you'll see the blue card over in the right-hand corner, the top right-hand corner, that's actually a dues card from the Grand Lodge of New York. And what we've done is we've partnered with Grand Lodges. So if they want to make their own card, we can share a QR code with them for Amity at no cost. And that's what New York does. And they put it on their cards, as well as they're allowing us to share and sell our passports that they're very interested in. And that's what you can see under here over in the section with the Grand Lodge of Florida. This is just one example of ours. This is the metal passport. It's highly durable. And again, this works with NFC technology, near field communication, so that it actually touches your phone and your profile pops up, as well as the signet ring, which is also another product that we sell. And that too has an NFC chip in it. The beauty of what this technology brings to the craft is that immediately your secretary or grand secretary can make a change to your status as a Mason. In years past, when we're using certificates and dues cards, that certificate, that dues card is actually what basically held your membership. If you get your dues card in January and by unfortunate circumstance, you're expelled in February, technically, you could probably carry that card all over the Americas, everywhere else besides Colombia, and nobody would know the wiser that you were expelled or suspended. Now, with modern technology, we can immediately make sure that that person is secure and that they're no longer going to be coming into our doors as a Mason. Another very interesting note, many of us still use paper, and I think it's important from a historical perspective to always have documents of paper. However, things are greatly changing, and a really interesting anecdote is that you cannot visit the White House of the United States without actually downloading their app and having an electronic ticket to enter the White House of the United States. So the reason they do this is because they understand that people can replicate tickets. Nowadays with modern technology and Photoshop, we can make almost any certificate. We can make checks. We could replicate anything that's out there. And so that's a real security risk for people in high-end situations. Thus, the White House of the United States has their own app and their own electronic identification. So this just shows you the importance of where we are today and how the craft was behind for so many years. Again, you can see where we've been and the different conferences we are. You can see we're actually up at this one right now in Charlotte for the Conference of Prince Hall Grandmasters, but we're serving Masons in 125 countries, in over 275 Grand Lodges and 13,000 local lodges. Again, when Masons know that your Amity account is secure and you're in good standing, they know the protocols we go through. They know that we're in touch with your leadership, and they know that your leadership is checking to make sure that your status is in good standing. This, brothers, is basically the end of this this presentation. What I will do is, rather than this, let me go to my desktop and try to bring up our website where I can show you that may actually stop, which should. There we go. So I get, sorry, brothers. So this is our website. You can see right here at amity.copiri.com. And these are our products right here. You can see our signet. This gives information about our signet, some videos on it. Now, the signet comes with the passport as well as the ring. These are our passports. Typically, they're $30 shipped to them. I know that many of the Grand Lodges in Colombia are interested in purchasing them in bulk for custom orders so that possibly you have the seal of the Grand Lodge on the card. With that, we give a little bit of a discount to the Grand Lodges so that they can use it as a fundraiser. But here you can see the details and the specifications and how to buy it. And lastly, this is our Acacia book where you can purchase them for $27 individually. And again, we allow the Grand Lodges to purchase a bulk order, which is significantly discounted at $15 a book, usually once a year. So this is basically the information on our products. We do have some information and tutorials, which will teach you, and some videos, how to add a profile, how to click, how to check into a lodge. Again, these unfortunately right now are in English, but we will hopefully be translating many of them to Spanish shortly, and hope that that really helps you brethren in servicing Cartagena. That's about it. That's all I have, brothers. I hope that that was helpful. I really appreciate your time. I miss you all greatly. North Carolina is not Cartagena, as great as it is here. And I really hope that I get to see all of you sooner than later.
Very nice. Well, thank you very much, Michael. Was a very nice presentation about what Amity is and how we can do it. We hope we can have our passport with a Serenissima logo. So it's a thing that we need to discuss with our great master and see what we can do. I guess many people will like to have it. I'm pretty sure of that. And I know that you print many of those cards when you came.
Yes.
So probably we can still save in someone to say Cartagena. It could be nice. So
Absolutely.
No sé si alguien.
You guys will mostly be at probably in Paraná in November.
That's the plan, to go to Paraná in Panama. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. ¿Alguien tiene alguna pregunta? Podemos traducir. Si tienen alguna inquietud, podemos traducir a Michael. Si alguien tiene preguntas.
Ya bueno, yo estoy grabando esta presentación también. La idea es que la subamos ambas al canal de la Serenísima en YouTube. Cuando lo haga, les voy a estar enviando pues el link a Lito y a los demás hermanos para que puedan ver la grabación, los que no pudieron estar, porque hoy estuvimos casi 20 personas más o menos en el clip. Entonces, para que los videos queden ahí y puedan verlos y de pronto cualquier duda, ya saben que estoy a disposición de ustedes. Gracias, Michael. Thank you, Michael, for your presentation.
Thank you, brothers, very much. Have a blessed evening, and I hope to see you all very soon.
Juan Carlos, ¿quieres hacer alguna pregunta a Michael? Michael, quiero presentarte a Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos es la persona que tenía la motivación de hacer un cambio en el tema de esto del pasaporte. Y por eso estamos trabajando con él de la mano para que lidere todo este proceso. Y bueno, seguramente en su momento él también te contactará. Él habla también bien el inglés. Entonces no sé, Juanca, si quieres preguntarle algo a Michael, alguna inquietud, decirle algo. Está silenciado, Juanca.
Okay. Ahí sí me escuchan.
Sí.
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 Yes, Michael, how are you? The question, yeah, the question is in the platform of Amity, in the passport, Masonic passport, what's the steps for have it in the page of the Amity or
So
Se llama
as of
Salomón.
as of right now, the shipping, when we have them on our website to purchase individually, unfortunately, that's just shipping within the continental United States. So what we'll have to do is do a bulk order for the Grand Lodges there, where you guys purchase, a certain amount. Usually we have a minimum of 100, but we have kind of gone a little lower than that for a few of the other Grand Lodges, anywhere between 70 and 100. And then what we would do is we would package them all up. We would have QR codes on the back of them. They would all be kind of pre-coded with a basic profile, not the individuals. And then what we would do is we would ship them to you, and you would get them, and then you would be able to code individually each one as you sell them for however much you choose to sell them to your members. We have some Grand Lodges that want to charge $60 a card, for their members, when they're making a fundraiser out of it. And technically, these cards, if you'll see, on Instagram or in different places, they sell for $40 or $50. So it is a unique opportunity. And again, those cards don't have two profiles, a Masonic and a public profile. Typically, those are just public profiles. So, we feel as though it's a great opportunity to raise some money for Grand Lodges. And again, it gives younger members excitement about joining the craft. So what we would basically need is, I think we ask for like 25% down. We order, the cards. Once we get the cards, we, pre-code them to a basic profile. This way you can just recode them easily. And at that point, once we receive the rest of the money, we would ship them to you and you would have them.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
Pero en el teléfono, inicialmente, Juan Carlos, tenemos lo que se llama el código de Salomón, el pasaporte, que es mira, el pasaporte masónico que se llama el del rey Salomón.
Okay.
Can you talk, Michael, you talk about it? But,
yes,
would you like
that's
to
actually,
talk a little bit more?
that's a little confusing because that is a passport as well. What that is a record of your traveling entries. What is necessary, and we're working on it right now, it's necessary for a lodge administrator to create a meeting before you can check into it. We have had a few occasions where someone traveled somewhere and unfortunately they didn't make a meeting, so they couldn't check in. That's something that we're further developing right now so that you be able to check in even if they don't make a meeting. But for right now, unfortunately, they have to make a meeting. So it's it's the same word, passport, but it's actually a different area of the app than the physical passport that you would use to travel Masonically. It's more of a record of your travels, just so that you have that for perpetuity.
Okay. Lito, let me translate to Michael. Bueno, entonces lo que dice Michael es que cuando en la aplicación, en la parte del menú, miren mi pantalla, en la parte del menú de la aplicación, ¿cierto? Hay una cosa que dice Masonic Member Status, o está miembro, o el estatus del miembro. Y ese como tal, si tú escaneas ese código QR, te aparece la información mía. O sea, eso es lo que hace la tarjeta, ¿ya? La tarjeta, que es esta que está aquí, tiene un código QR, si lo alcanzan a ver, ¿sí? Que es este mismo, ¿ya? Ese código QR, si tú lo escaneas, te da mis datos. Ese es el pasaporte. Cuando tú te vas aquí donde dice Masonic Passport, lo que te está mostrando es los eventos a los que asiste. Por ejemplo, aquí me está diciendo que yo asistí al evento de la CMI, ¿sí lo ven? ¿Ya? Entonces, por ejemplo, si usted va a otra logia en otro país, usted entra a la aplicación y se va donde dice Member Status y ahí muestra el código QR. Si el hermano en esa logia o en ese oriente tiene la aplicación, escanea y le salen tus datos. Y así confirma de que tú eres un masón activo en good standing, que es un masón activo y regular. ¿Vale?
Otra cosa, Estefano,
Sí.
en este momento donde dice Masonic Passport, es solamente para registrar los eventos como ese que tú pusiste, pero que cuando visitamos las otras logias, es requerido que la persona encargada en la logia cree un evento para que quede registrado en la aplicación nuestra.
Exactamente.
En este momento no quedaría registrado salvo que creen el evento previamente.
Exactamente.
Y llevar el pasaporte físico para que le estampen el sello y nos quede el récord romántico.
El récord romántico, sí, pero digamos que para que te den el ingreso, la idea es que tú muestres, obviamente,
Sí, para el ingreso con esto
member
queda.
status. ¿Ya?
Sí.
El member status, el anillo en su caso, que hay un anillo y está la tarjeta también, que es esta tarjeta que está aquí. ¿Ya? Entonces son, digamos, los distintos mecanismos de que cuando vayas a otra logia en otra parte del mundo, pues te reconozcan. Listo. ¿Alguien más
¿Alguien
tiene
quiere hacer
alguna duda?
alguna otra pregunta? Esta es una oportunidad. Tenemos a Michael aquí, así que
Y no es todos los días.
no sabemos cuándo vamos a volver a tenerlo. Bueno,
Pero parece que no hay preguntas.
Serenísimo, entonces lo dejamos que se despida de Michael y de todos nosotros.
Marco, muchas gracias por esta oportunidad, por acompañarnos en esta capacitación. Estefano, muy claro todo. Ahorita te llamo para darte unas instrucciones junto con Lito de algunos aspectos de lo que hicimos ahora. Gracias a todos por la asistencia. Espero que esto se generalice y se utilice para una mejor identificación entre nosotros. Que tengan buenas noches y buenos días. Gracias a todos.
Gracias.
Gracias, hermanos. Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Gracias a todos por su asistencia. Gracias. Gracias, Juan Carlos Mantilla. No te había visto, mi hermano. Gracias.
Aquí estoy. Gracias, hermano. Saludos a todos. Un abrazo.
Lo mismo.
Gracias, Juan
Hasta luego, un
Carlos.
abrazo. Está bien, chao.
Chao, Juan Carlos.
¿Qué más, hermano? ¿Cómo estás? Espero que te vaya muy bien.